When she left the clinic 12 days later, a horde of photographers was waiting for her. They bombarded her with questions. She had difficulty escaping the nightmare. She decided to move back to Los Angeles for good. The city where she was born. The city where for nothing in the world she would have wanted to die. The city where she would die. On June 1st, she turned 35. She claimed to be full of hope. She knew she'd never be happy, but at least she could be high-spirited. What did she live off those last months? What did she die of? Too much sex? Or too much psychoanalysis? Like a drug she couldn't live without anymore.
Although I like people.
Greenson was horrified by her increasing desire for casual love affairs. The police spoke to him of proceedings against Marilyn for making love with strangers in public places.
I think love and work are the only things that really have.
A fear of men, interpreted the therapist, a desire to seduce that led her to give herself to any man who came along. He esteemed that psychoanalysis could do nothing for Marilyn. He was afraid he couldn't save her, afraid of hastening the end.
Because I think I have also a gay side to me, also a sad side. And I think that's the way with people also. But there is something in people where they need something.
Like a drowning man who drags his saver down with him, she pulled Greenson further and further down, towards darkness, towards emptiness. With her, he started improvising, overstepping almost every boundary. He encouraged his own children to become friends with her, let her call him in the middle of the night, saw her all the time, gave up his other patients, put her up in his home. The game was out of control. Each one was destroying the other. But what if the end were to come from another side? From politics, from the Kennedys, the president and his brother Bobby, the mafia, which wanted to compromise them by using her.
This is a moment of thrill, thrill me, thrill me. Take me in your arms and make my life perfection. Take me, darling, don't forsake me. Kiss me, hold me tight.
At a dinner party in early October 1961, Marilyn met the younger brother of John Kennedy, Robert, Attorney General at the time, married and the father of 7 children. That evening, she chose a dress that set off her pale skin. She wanted her breasts to show as much as possible. The very type of self-destructive behavior Greenson wanted her to give up. The dinner party was held in the home of Peter Lawford, the Kennedys' brother-in-law, the man known as the president's pimp. Marilyn drank heavily, and Bobby Kennedy offered to take her home. Shortly after this, she wrote a short poem of despair. Help me. Help me. Life is coming closer and closer when all I want is to die. When was it? Late one night, Marilyn called her longtime friend, André de DNS. She wanted him to photograph her. She wanted to pose sad and drunk. They took photos lit by the car headlights. The images were melodramatic. Her face overexposed. Yes, that was exactly how she felt, overexposed. Was she play acting, or did she sense that tragedy was just around the corner? She told Greenson she didn't know what the nighttime was for. His response was to wait, to tell the other to come back. Only there was no other. Just Librium, Nembutal, and Demerol.
Well, I want to do my best.
Greenson's questions were brutal. Why are you so afraid of being filmed when you want to be photographed so badly? She was afraid when she had to speak, pronounce words before the camera's eye. Whereas, when she felt she was sinking, she knew only one cure: have her picture taken. Photos were taken in silence. There were no lines.
Hello, please.
I can't play it for you now, Rose.
You can't say drop dead.
Marilyn and the president. The reaction was not long in coming.
Hello? Yes?
J. Edgar Hoover, head of the FBI, warned the Kennedys about the dangerous collusion between Marilyn's friends, the mafia, and them. For Marilyn was the mistress of John and his brother Bobby. She was also lovers with the left-wing screenwriter Jose Bolanos. J. Edgar Hoover worried about her keeping company with Reds. Her telephone line was tapped. She received threats and was made to understand that she should keep away from the Kennedy brothers.
Yes.
Does that mean come on over?
In February 1962, Marilyn bought a house in Brentwood, halfway between the studios and her analyst's home. She wanted a house of her own, but one that looked like his. Helena Drive, number 4. Her house was not as pretty, not as big, but otherwise it was the exact replica of Ralph Greenson's. This house will be the child you never had, the husband you divorced, he told her. Marilyn put her white piano in the living room. She came home to it, like to a long-lost friend. She liked to caress it with her fingertips when people didn't understand, and life became unlivable.